Experience the epic series that the world is watching and raving about. Catch up or relive the first 3 seasons of Game of Thrones, now on HBO On Demand, and watch back-to-back episodes anytime on your schedule. This year, join the Legion of Followers and enjoy past seasons of Game of Thrones, plus the premiere of Season 4 on April 6th on HBO. Don't miss out. Sign up for HBO and get free access to HBO On Demand.
Cabinet ministers take the media's questions on the eve of the PLP's 2nd anniversary of governance. This as the FNM holds a rally tonight. The tourism minister insists web shops will be regulated on July 1st. The prime minister says he regrets the decision to put up controversial murder posters. Plus, the NCTU president speaks out on Aragonite. We've got those stories and a whole lot more tonight. I'm Vonnie Toot, and NB12 starts now. Tonight, on the eve of the Progressive Liberal Party's 2nd anniversary in office, Prime Minister Perry Christie and members of his cabinet took the media's questions during a 2-hour news conference at Cabinet Office this afternoon. Christie was asked about delays in VAT implementation, holding a constitutional referendum, and finalizing the new BTC deal. However, he failed to give specific information on any of those issues and often deferred questions to his cabinet ministers. Jasmine Bonamy reports.
2 years since coming to office, Prime Minister Perry Christie says he is happy with his ministers and their performance to date. But during that 2-hour-long press conference, there were still many uncertainties about key issues in the Christie administration. Controversial topics like value-added tax, the constitutional referendum, and BTC deal were all addressed. But no new details were revealed and questions remain. Concerning VAT, Christie says VAT will be introduced at a significantly lower rate, lower than 15%. But he still did not give an implementation date or say what the new rate would be. However, he did say the government is working closely with the Coalition for Responsible Taxation.
We are going to have value-added tax, and I'd like to believe that when we do have it, that we will be very close to having agreement with the Coalition on what we present. I met with them last night in my office and had a very dynamic discussion. And I told my colleagues today, those discussions will continue because I've reached the point now where, as Minister of Finance, I have to bring to my colleagues the legislation and the form of the legislation that we are going to introduce.
The Prime Minister was also asked whether the new BTC deal was finalized. He deferred that question.
That really is a question that the leader of government business in the House could be able to more accurately tell us in terms of the House agenda.
We are likely to table it as soon as we go on to a new agenda. Right now we've got a number of matters, as you know, that we are completing. I think that'll take us another week or so.
Christie also failed to give a date for the proposed constitutional referendum on gender equality. Last year, he said it would be held this summer, but it is anticipated the referendum would be pushed back a 3rd time.
The position is the Cabinet of the Bahamas has given consideration to the referendum bills. The Constitutional Commission has then taken the position to the leader of the opposition and his party. They have given consideration to the bills. They have taken a position on that. The bills have gone back to the lawyers, and the lawyers now have to fashion it and bring it back to the cabinet for final approval, which will then go to the House of Assembly. So the process, I expect, therefore, that to be done imminently. As soon as we are able to know that we have signed off on the bills, we will set a date for the referendum.
Over the last 2 years, the Free National Movement has criticized the PLP government, calling its performance lackluster. Today, Christie defended his administration.
Do you know, when you say FNM, who you're talking about? You're talking about the party that got beaten. You're talking about ministers one by one who were toppled. That's what you're talking about. You're talking about a party that is scrapping right now. See, and don't listen, there is some stunning arrogance in the political domain by those of you who determine what the political status is all about.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.
Tourism Minister Obi Wilshcombe insisted during that news conference that web shops will be regulated on July 1st as promised, despite Minister of State for Legal Affairs Damian Gomez's assertion that that date is unrealistic. Gomez said a more realistic date to start taxing web shops would be December 31st, noting a lot of work has to be done from a legislative point of view. However, Wilshcombe says they're sticking with July 1.
July 1st, that's the date. We intend to proceed. We've been working assiduously. I think we have to understand this in context. We are not the first to seek to cause this to be regularized, the web shops. The former administration had prepared legislation. Legislation was prepared for 2010, and they prepared the way in which to regularize the web shops. And so we've been working with legislation proposed by the former administration, legislation that we've looked at from our consultants that have come in, and we've been talking with the web shop owners and all the others. The truth is we're working assiduously to ensure that we can make the date.
Government made the decision to regulate web shops a year after Bahamians rejected their regulation and taxation of web shops in the January 28, 2013 gambling referendum. One day after Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis accused the media of taking delight in flaming the fire of discontent when it comes to crime, Prime Minister Christie told reporters today he regrets the PLP's decision to put up controversial murder posters weeks before the 2012 general election.
The best I can tell you is that if I were faced with the same circumstances and I had to make the decision, I wouldn't do it again.
Davis has come under heavy fire for yesterday's comments, considering he defended the PLP's decision to erect those posters, which said 490 plus murders under the F&M in areas frequented by tourists. Christie said, "You live and you learn."
I think we must all learn in the light of our experiences. I passed the stage of whether there's regret. Whether I would do it again, the answer is no. You don't regret in that sense. You move on and you learn.
We also asked the Prime Minister whether he is confident that a fair process led to the awarding of a $20 million contract to Lloyd Smith for the construction of a new Ministry of National Security building on John F. Kennedy Drive. Holiday Industrial Builders Limited is the same company that was hired to construct the building housing the Attorney General and her staff before it was fired by the Ingram administration.
It is amazing that people could take an issue, magnify it, when you know it was given to somebody without going to tender. And I have to presume you know, and I presume you don't care. You only care when it's awarded by the PLP.
Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works Philip Brave Davis accused the media of creating scandal.
And most of these issues fanned by the media causes the concerns in our community. Because of this issue in particular, the matter was referred to my ministry. We had a meeting with all of my technical officers. We looked at the numbers, we revised all the numbers, and we then said this price, the value for what's going to be built, is reasonable and meets the appropriate accepted construction standard. The question of Mr. Lloyd Smith, Holiday Construction, being competent to build was also raised and investigated by my ministry.
We asked Labor Minister Shane Gibson why the information on this building was not made public before the Nassau Guardian inquired about it last week.
These contracts are never tabled in Parliament like that. But I can go through all of the national insurance contract, and only time those issues are raised if somebody raised an issue about the contract. You don't table national insurance contract in Parliament. When did it happen last? When was the last time? Can you refresh my memory? It was made public once persons asked about it.
charging that the Christie administration has failed to properly govern the country over the past 2 years. Free National Movement leader Dr. Hubert Minnis says the party will hold a rally tonight at its Mackey Street headquarters to tell Bahamians the truth about the government. Minnis says the government has yet to get a handle on running the country. The FNM has accused the government of abusing political power, victimization, and failing to make life better for Bahamians. Tonight's speakers include Dr. Minnis, FNM Deputy Leader Loretta Butler Turner, FNM Chairman Darren Cash, and FNM Senator Carl Bethel.